Yeah, I mean, that's the prerogative of being the boss.
Maybe it'd be more relatable. Maybe if you showed up wearing like flip-flops and t-shirt.
That kind of kills my brand, though, no?
Does it?
Like,
what is your brand exactly?
I thought it was being an asshole.
I don't think you're an asshole, though.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
You're a very nice guy. You're just conservative.
That's the dirty little secret, though.
Yeah.
Right? We're not supposed to talk about that.
But this is one of the things that bothers me so much about you being so misrepresented. When I read things about you, there was the article that we were just talking about, the alt-right sage without the rage, they called you, and you're not even remotely alt-right. In fact, you were the leading target of anti-Semitic abuse for all of 2016, weren't you?
Yeah,
online?
according to the Anti-Defamation League, which is no ally of mine. So, yeah, I mean, not only am I not alt-right, I've spent the last 4 years like legitimately battling the alt-right, talking about how evil I think their ideology is, how evil I think white supremacy is. I mean, first of all, like people with yarmulkes, typically not the favorites of the alt-right. And then beyond that, I mean, I think their ideology is legitimately a devastatingly awful twist on what Western civilization is supposed to be. What's amazing is a review of my new book, and my new book has several sections in there dedicated to how terrible the alt-right is. And then the interview they did with me doesn't talk about alt-right stuff at all, but they just assume I'm on the conservative right. That must mean that I am alt-right. And it's like, no, you stupid.
That's the problem with these labels. They're disingenuous. People are labeling people in a very simple manner to try to categorize them as the enemy. And instead of just addressing these points, like I love watching your debates where you do Q&As with college students and with people in the audience, because you can see you agree with you or disagree with you. You have well-formulated ideas. This isn't just some bullshit that you're spouting out. You've thought these things through.
I mean, I've been doing this for legitimately more than half my life. I'm 35, and I started when I was 17. And I started writing a syndicated column at that point. And when you're 17, you think a lot of dumb stuff. And then you get older, and you educate yourself, and you spend a lot of time reading and a lot of time studying. Hopefully you have some cogent arguments after 20 years of doing anything. I mean, but it's the demonization is pretty astonishing. I mean, we had on Andrew Yang. He's the only Democratic candidate who has agreed to go on the Sunday special that I do. We did a full hour on UBI. It was perfectly nice. It was perfectly coherent and conciliatory. And yet people will suggest that everything I do is about destroying people on the other side because of all the Ben Shapiro destroys videos and all that kind of stuff.
There are certain groups of people where that's their shtick. They're goons. Right? They just go after people online for attention.
Yep.
This is a shtick. This is not you. And this is what bothers me so much. And I know that you've said some things in the past, like particularly about Arabs and like when you were a younger man that you said, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. That's exactly right. Some of those things were taken out of context, like that one particular tweet, which is a bad tweet, was a tweet that was part of a tweet thread in which I was specifically contrasting Israel and the Hamas leadership and saying that the Israeli government likes to build and the Hamas leadership would prefer that their citizens live in sewage and bomb things. But that was a bad tweet, obviously. Yeah. My entire history on Muslim relations is one, like I supported the ability of Ilhan Omar to wear a hijab on the floor. I opposed President Trump's originally proposed Muslim ban. In the last 3 weeks, I've had on Majid Nawaz, I've had on Kanta Ahmed, I had on yesterday a reform Muslim. Like, these are conversations that have to be had. But to take, this is one of the things that bugs me so much. I've tweeted, I think, 140,000 times. I've written millions of words. I'm sure you can find something I don't even remember having written that is bad. I have a running list, by the way. I try to be honest about this. I'm one of the only people I know who I have a running list. It's called, so here's a giant list of all the dumb stuff I've ever done. Right. And I actually go through all this, like, you can look it up. This is not me saying this now. I mean, you can go and look up all the things that I think I've done wrong, and I'll apologize for some, and I'll say some were dumb, and I'll say some I'm fine with, and you're just taking out of context, but I mean, I hope that's what honest people try to do.
But this is the problem. You're not dealing with honest people. When people are trying to categorize you as alt-right, or they're trying to put you into this category of internet goon, they're quote tweet just taking some little tiny phrase that you said 7 years ago and trying to say this is you. This is you now. Right. That's such a disingenuous thing to do.
I hate it, and I hate it across the aisle, by the way. Like, I was a defender of James Gunn. I thought James Gunn shouldn't have been fired from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
over
I thought
the old
so too.
tweets. I thought that
they
was
were
bullshit.
Just dumb jokes.
Right, that's exactly right. Yeah. And even if somebody tweeted something bad like 10 years ago, bringing it up now is not an attempt to actually make the public space better. And you're not actually offended by that thing the person tweeted 10 years ago that you didn't notice. What it is that you want to get rid of this person or hurt this person. So you're going to bring up something from 10 years ago, and then you're going to try and club them into submission with it. Because if you actually ask them their opinion about it, they might have a more nuanced view on what they said. Maybe they apologize. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe they think, I don't even remember saying that.
Right.
I mean, I felt the same way, by the way. I try to be consistent. I really do about this stuff. I said the same thing about, for example, Ralph Northam, the governor of Virginia, who is excoriated for having this terrible racist photo on his yearbook page back in medical school in 1987. And people were saying, well, this is evidence he's racist now. I was like, well, no, that's evidence that he was doing a racist thing then. That's not evidence that he is racist now. You sort of have to look over the broad course of his career. And he ended up doing what everyone now does, which is you just don't apologize for anything. You just try to pass it off as a nothing. The public space is actually getting worse because let's say that you did something bad in the past. There are a few human responses, too. I did something I don't like in the past. Human response number one is, you know what? I apologize. That was wrong. These days, that gets your face stepped on. Right? You say, I apologize. I was wrong. It means, well, why did you do it in the first place? Because you're a bad person. Apologies are not accepted. And then number two is you brazen it out. You do the Trump. You know, well, I never did anything wrong ever. I'm perfect. Right? And then you get your defenders to come and surround you. And then nothing ever gets cleansed. Or opportunity number three is you do what Barack Obama did, which is you come out preemptively and you try to remember all the bad stuff you do and then you confess it in public. So in Dreams from My Father, he says, right, when I was back in high school, did a little blow. And everybody's like, oh, okay, so he did cocaine when he was in high school. That's cool. Whereas if it comes out during the campaign,
right,
then he's boned, right? Then he's got a real problem. The problem is that right now, even if you preemptively come out and say I did something wrong, like for example, Liam Neeson talking about years ago when he had a racist thought that he didn't act on, when he had a racist thought. This is now, we're going to try and ruin your career for something that you admit was bad, that you did 30 years ago. We're going to try and ruin you over that. If you apologize for something that you did 30 years ago, which you would have preferred, just got forgotten because it was embarrassing and stupid, then we say you're bad. And so all you're left with is like the most shameless people in the world who are in the public space, right? The incentive structure is to be deeply shameless, to just say, yeah, man, I own that. And it was great when I said it. Or I didn't say it at all. And you're just full of it. I never said that stuff. Who are you going to believe? Your eyes or me? And it makes for a really bad politics.